Okay, page 220, yeah? So this is actually the 19th class that when we started this whole thing on the month of Av and leading up to Tisha B'Av, and now we're working towards Chamisha Asar B'Av, okay, and which will be coming this Shabbos. We're going to be skipping at some point, but we'll find it. Okay, so what day in the year of the destruction of the temple? What day of the week was Tisha B'Av? Anybody know? According to the Gemara.
Same day of the year, Pesach for you? Okay.
No, that's okay. Nobody's there.
Wednesday?
Wednesday? Guessing right in the middle, right?
Shabbos.
So Shabbos. Now count to the next Shabbos. What's the date of the next Shabbos? 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, right? So if you start, so it comes out. So actually, it was Motzei Shabbos actually. So Yom Rishon was the 9th, the 10th, the 11th, the 12th, 13, 14, 15. So Chamisha Asar B'Av, the 15th of Av was on Shabbos. Okay? So that's very, very significant. And just this morning, as I was coming home from the mikveh, so I met one of the women in the neighborhood. Like a woman, you might see her walking with a little brown dog every so often. Her name is Sarah. She actually lost a son in one of the wars years ago. She lives alone, and she special, kind neshama. And so we stop. When we have a chance, we stop and talk for a minute or two. And she was saying that the fast Tisha B'Av is a very hard fast for her. But then when she thinks about what was it like for anybody that was present during the time of the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash, our fasting doesn't even compare, right? Our fasting doesn't even compare. So, that the Gemara says, do you remember where the Gemara says in two places? I think one place is a Mishnah, right? That Lo Hayu Yomim Tovim V'Yisrael K'Yom Kippurim V'Chamisha V'Tzabav. Do you remember where it is? The two most joyous. Remember where the Gemara is?
It's the last Mishnah in Megillah.
It's the last Mishnah in Megillah?
It says that there are no happier days than Tisha B'Av
and Yom Kippur, right? And the Mishnah goes into the whole thing. It was what was done then for the women.
I read the Mishnah.
Go take out the Megillah and see. In any case, both on Yom Kippur and on Chemish B'Av, the women would go and they would borrow each other's dresses. They would go out into the vineyards and dance, and they would say, Su'u Bachor, or Bachor, Su'u Marom Menachem, lift your eyes to heaven, and find your soulmate. And people would go up to each other and they would get married. So we were learning.
Dresses.
So that you tell me. Come on, why would they switch dresses? Why would they borrow each other?
And the rich won't,
So that you wouldn't know who's poor, you wouldn't know who's rich, and you wouldn't know who's. In other words, you wouldn't judge the person and the chitzonius and status, etc., etc.
But it's funny, right? Because so what do you judge on? Then you have looks.
Yeah. In other words, lift your eyes up. I don't think it's in Megillah, by the way. Anyway, so maybe in Yuma, maybe it's there. Maybe in Yuma, maybe in Tanis, I don't know. But anyway, come, sit down.
Whatever. It's in there.
Yeah. And so they would be telling the young man, look properly, right? In other words, you're not going to know who I am by the dress that I have that I'm wearing. You're not going to know who I am by my looks. You got to go and to the highest place in yourself, and we were learning this a couple of weeks ago. Reb Shlomo was saying that what we're mourning during the time these 3 weeks, that what we've been mourning is, in particular, and most of all, on Tisha B'Av, is our loss of connection with our Nekuda Elyona, with our supernal point. And when you're connected with your supernal point, so then you can see who your soulmate is. Now, what does it have to do with Chemish B'Av coming out on Shabbos? So, when this woman Sarah was saying that she we can't even imagine what it was like for Yidden the Shas Maisa during the time of the destruction. How do you possibly carry on with life, right? So once Shabbos came, we realized, and particularly the women realized, we still have Shabbos. We still have this the En Olam Haba, and if we still have Shabbos, that means that we're going to fix it all. We're going to do it. Okay. So why particularly are the women the instigators of this whole big tikkun? So when Hashem sends your neshama down to this world, Hashem is basically taking your neshama, taking our souls from a very, very high place and bringing them down into this Olam HaGashmi, right? When Hashem sent Adam down into Olam Hazeh, initially into Gan Eden, but still a great, great descent, right? The neshama, Chassidus explains that when we say it in the morning, when we say Elokai Neshama Tohorahi, it's so that it comes from this highest of places. Our neshamot already existed before God created the world, right? It says that when Hashem said Naseh Adam B'Tzalmenu, that Hashem consulted with the neshamot of the tzaddikim, V'ameich Kulam tzaddikim. And Hashem consulted with the souls of the Jewish people. If we're agreeing to the creation of man, if we're agreeing to come down to Olam Hazeh. Okay? So So we came down, Adam Avishon comes down into Gan Eden, and Hashem has to make sure that we have the means not only for returning to the high place that we come from, but actually to go to something even higher. Then what happens is Chava gives Adam to eat from the tree of knowledge, and in a sense, she does something very similar to what Hashem did. Hashem brought her neshamas from Olam HaElyon, from this highest supernal place, into this world, and she took her neshamas from Gan Eden into the world that we know, which means that she did something very divine-like, okay, without going into the other aspects of the whole story and so on. But just like Hashem has a responsibility that towards all of us, that we should be able to get back to this highest place that we were in before and even higher. So the woman has that responsibility now also. Not that we're not responsible. In other words, don't misunderstand. Okay. In other words, it's not that it's only your responsibility, that only the women are responsible, but particularly this, when you think about it, you know, there's a saying, behind every great Rebbe, there was an even greater Rebbetzin. Okay? Now you're laughing. Okay, Baruch Hashem. Okay, it's true. But it's true.
How is it?
It's true. What do you think?
Always right.
Huh?
We're always right.
I didn't say that. I just didn't say that. But you know, the nobody can do it alone, right? But even like, for example, at Yetziat Mitzrayim, B'zchut nashim tzedkaniyot nigalu avoteinu miMitzrayim. The whole Exodus was in the merit of the righteous women, right?
Mm-hmm.
In other words, the men had given up.
The men
had given up, but the women didn't give up. Understand? And that's so important to realize that. And same thing happened at Hanukkah. The whole rebellion against the Greeks was started by a woman, right? In the battle with Sisera, it was Devorah, right? So in other words, we see throughout history that the women always played a major role. Even with the golden calf, the women did not willingly give their jewelry. Okay. So this particular teaching over here is that it's entitled Avodat Hashem Hilo Business. What he's saying is that, and we're going to go on to page 221, but what he's basically saying is that, look at page 221, the about 8-9 lines down. It starts with the Nirot said Shetiftachu Sharei Halev B'tzura Ha'amika Biyoter. I want you to open your hearts in the deepest way. Why do people dislike one another? There are people that live in a very finite way. Their good has a limitation. Their religion, their Avodat Hashem has a limit. Their marriages is also with a limit. Even if it's the highest of limits. So when when one looks at the other, and you see that the other person is not living within your domain, within your concepts of the way things should be, the way people should be, Husoneoto. He hates the other person. Now it doesn't necessarily mean hates like like I hate you, but like it says that when we say that the second Beit HaMikdash was destroyed because of sinat chinam, because of baseless hatred, it doesn't mean that people were walking around, I hate you. It's even just I don't appreciate your being. That's also considered sinat chinam.
It's more like they look down on that.
So I'm saying you're looking down or not appreciating not appreciating another person's being. Basically, in other words, say it's like living with the philosophy that man can't achieve altruistic love. Okay? So when you see another person that's not within your domain of what's reasonable or what and so on, you have a dislike for that person. Who may such a person says, I pray 3 times a day. You pray only twice. I can't stand you. In other words, call it looking down, call it looking, like it's blaming other people for misfortunes. So he's using very harsh language, but the point is that, in other words, I love myself, and if you are like me, so then I love you because you're affirming my way of being. But if you are not being like me, right? It's sort of so it can go all the way from feeling challenged by the fact that you're different to plain and simple, just not appreciating the fact that you're doing something different, and that means that you don't think that I'm really great. Because if you thought I'm really great, you'd be doing the same as I'm doing, right? Okay, so that's what did you want to say?
It's like a lack of acceptance. Like my way or the highway type of thing. There's no room for change or.
There's not only that there's no room, but it's an intolerance too. Okay,
It's how we know who we are. Like it's part of identity.
By
Formation is to know. I'm not saying that it's a good thing.
No. You're saying, but defining ourselves by what we're not.
Yeah.
Instead of defining ourselves by what we are and what we can be, we say it's like that old joke about this guy was shipwrecked and he was out on his little boat and he comes to this island. He survives. Happens to be the only person on the island, and nobody knows about it. I'm sure you know the joke. And this years later, somebody else shows up there, and I'm so happy to see this guy. Anyway, he says, "What have you been doing here all by yourself for 30 years?" He says, "Come, I'll show you." And he shows him the whole little village that he built, and there's this beautiful building. He says, "What's this?" He says, "That's my shul." And there's another beautiful building. What's this? That's also a shul. Why do you need 2 shuls? You're one person in the islands. He says, that's one I don't go to. Right? In other words, you're defining yourself by being, considering yourself to be better than somebody else or whatever, right? So he says, Aval, however, if I'm serving God in the deepest way, so then whatever the other person is doing, any little thing has tremendous meaning to me. Because the Infinite One, only He really knows how precious every little thing is. Right? So this is, compare this with Reb Nachman's teaching of Azamra about looking at the Nekudat Tovat. Right? And appreciating the Nekudat Tovat, like the way Reb Nachman emphasizes in Reish Pei Beis, that even if all you can see in this person is like one little Nekudat Tova, and that Nekudat Tova has got like a mountain of garbage connected with it and so on, still there is one little tiny pure spot, and if you appreciate that, all kinds of great things can happen. Right? So Hakshivu Shuv Lastira Hazot. Now listen again to this contradiction. When you say Shetiftechu Sharei Halev, I want you to open the gates of your heart. If I love you infinitely, maybe I can't forgive you for the smallest thing. We're still on the bottom of 221. אבל דע לך עוד משהו, אם אני אוהב אותך בצורה אינסופית, גם לדבר הקטן ביותר שאתה עושה, יש משמעות עצומה לגביי. So, Reb Shlomo was saying that the question that people wonder about is, okay, so good, we messed up, but for that we have to have such a long golus, such a long exile. And what did we do that's so we did horrible, right? But what did we do that's so horrible that the exile has to continue for already almost 2,000 years, right? So Reb Shlomo doesn't go into explaining what it is that we did, but rather he says that the point is this, is that the fact that we're still in exile, number one, the relationship is still there, right? But furthermore, the fact that we're still in exile is what indicates that the relationship is so special. Our relationship with Hashem was so special, and it's only when you have a very special, deep relationship that even a little thing makes a big difference, both in the negative and in the positive. Understand? It's sort of paradoxical. You love me so much, so then, and you care so much about our relationship, so why are you offended by a little thing that I did?
Dafka
because it's so deep. Right? Why do you go crazily happy over a little positive thing that I do? Dafka because the relationship is so deep. Page 222. If somebody loves me just a little bit, and I caused her some pain, she'll forgive me. But but when we really love each other, and she says, I'm never going to talk to you again, just for some little thing. At that moment it's revealed to me from heaven how much she loves me.
Because she cares. So.
Because it means so much.
Right.
So the next time a woman tells you, I'm not talking to you again.
Or I say to a woman, I'm not talking to you again. It's usually I'm not talking to them again.
Right?
It's because I like them, not because...
Yes, I'm saying, because it must be so special, right?
It used to be.
Right?
Trying to preserve what was special.
Huh?
Trying to preserve
it.
It's better than nothing.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, so without wanting to chas v'sholom make anybody feel bad, right? But it's so different from the way we normally think. Right? It's so different from the way we normally think. Now, mainly, you're going out in under shidduch and this and that. So then if it's not the right person, it's not the right person, understand? But when a couple is already married or already in a relationship, and one of them does something that's not so, that offends the other person and offends the relationship, it's important to know that if it's really hurting, it's because the relationship is so special. If it wasn't special, right? I mean, just imagine, a little kid in the street says something insulting to you that you don't even know them, right? So you're going to say, rotten kid or whatever. And not even that, you're just going to go on your way, right? But if somebody that's really precious to you says something, and even if it's like a small thing, like it really hurts. No. So the way we think is usually, oh, look, you hurt me by what you just did, right? What Reb Shlomo is talking about is not that we hurt Hashem. You can't hurt Hashem. Okay? The idea is that what Hashem is letting us know is that our relationship is so special. You hurt the relationship, and the only way, for some reason or another, the only way that we're going to know that how much we hurt this relationship is by Hashem distancing himself from us. Okay? So just to connect you back with what he was talking before, the title that he gave that's in the book for this particular part, a business relationship is, something that you can measure, right? This is a good deal or it's not a good deal. You know what I mean? I invested so much, I expect so much in return, right? And that's not the deepest of relationships. That's a business relationship. That's what a business relationship is. I don't know if this is true or not, but you can argue. You can tell me if you don't think it's true. But it seems to me that that when a woman breaks up the relationship with a guy, let's say they were married and the woman decides to end it, the guy will, as hurt as he may be, I don't know if it's comparable to the pain that a woman experiences when the relationship ends because of the guy. I don't know if I can generalize or not. You got a bunch of you online, like somebody might fire something through the screen, but in any case, but if that's the case, I know that I've seen in certain situations, I've definitely seen it, I've seen it.
It's a lot worse, by the way.
It's a lot worse for the woman than it is for the guy. In other words, when the guy ends the relationship, it's a lot worse for the woman than it is for the guy when the woman ends the relationship.
What's the reason?
And the reason I think is because, to begin with, the woman and women in general appreciate and value relationships more than guys do. I do, Lasha.
I told you she was right.
They're always right. Okay. No, but so I mean, first of all, even just from the point of view of the whole process, the whole natural process of being born, right? It's the woman that is in the relationship with the child the entire 9 months. It's the woman's body that goes into.
It's a more natural thing for a woman to be in a relationship than a man.
It's a woman. Her whole body goes into doing everything it needs to do to bring about this life of this child. And the man may have been there for just a few moments. And in fact, when the child is born, it takes the father a lot longer to start relating with the infant than that's for the mother, because for the mother it's like, finally you're showing your face, right? But the relationship has been going on for a long time. The Lubavitch Rebbe once said this is an explanation as to why transmission of being a Jew comes through the mother. Because It's there's already a relationship going on between the mother and the child, and if one has a Jewish father and not a Jewish mother, the child is not really Jewish unless it's going to be converted, because who you are is far more determined far more by your mother than by your father. So so the you know, like,
So you get called up as
Mhm.
Ben your father though.
because now you're talking about whether you're Kohen, Levi, or Yisrael, or which Shevet you belong to.
So why is that kind of my father?
Because that's the way that's what the Torah that's the way the Torah established it. And as far as your essence, whether you're a Jew or whether you're not a Jew, and it's not that the father doesn't contribute anything. The father contributes part of your identity too. But the father contributes more like Olam Hazeh type of thing, you know. So it's a lot, you know, like which Shevet you belong to. Are you a Kohen? Are you a Levi, etc. Okay, and whereas the others, this is who you are. You know, I haven't seen him in a while. There's this very brilliant young man that we're friends, you know, but just we don't live in the same area and so on. And he grew up in, what's that area where you're from, New York?
Up in Queens.
Queens and
That's
Long
right.
Island.
Woodmere.
Not Woodmere. It's like
Lawrence.
a lot of Russian Jews there. And
Regal Park.
anyway, whatever,
Right.
somewhere like that. Okay.
Okay.
And she had come from Russia. I think he was born in the States, and they lived in some town there. And he said that when he went to high school, he was invited to a friend's house, and they had a Nazi flag on the wall. Now, there weren't too many Jews in that neighborhood, and the Goyim there were not ashamed of being anti-Semitic and everything. Anyway, he said the only thing that his mother gave him as a Jew was a bar mitzvah, or she took him, or whatever it is. I don't know what relationship he had with his father or whatever. I don't remember him telling me about it. And then he grew up, and he's a very, very inquisitive, intelligent mind. So he started searching around, for some spirituality, etc. And he went, to start studying history and stuff. But this guy's like, he's serious. Like when he doesn't just go and say, "Oh, that's cute and this is nice and that's nice." Like, he actually learned Sanskrit and he did these things seriously, right? And eventually he came back. He found his Yiddishkeit. But when he was sitting shiva for his mother, he told me the story, and she would say to him, "I don't understand you. Why do you have to go looking? You're a Jew." And he'd say to her, "But you never told me what it means." And she'd say, "I don't understand you. You're a Jew." You hear the depth of that?
But for it's clear.
Huh?
It's clear as day. Like what?
She doesn't know what it says in the Chumash. She doesn't know what it says, how you celebrate the holiday. She doesn't know when it's a holiday, and this and that and so on. She just knew, I'm a Jew. And there was no question to her about it. That I don't have to look anywhere else. But are you living a spiritual life? So if you're going to sit there and make comparisons on the basis of does she sit and down, or does she do this, or does she do that, and does she do that, you're going to come out with the conclusion that no, it's not very much, right? But if you can imagine a woman coming from Russia, from communist Russia, this is not, this is right, when Jews were hated and despised, right? And despite all that, and comes to America and has no thoughts of ever saying that she's not Jewish. Can you imagine how strong do you realize how strong her connection is to being a Jew? Right? So you gotta have like really deep eyes to begin to appreciate that. And when he was sitting Shiva, he was telling me that he was like, it really hit home that, how deep her connection was. So the whole thing about this period of time that we're living through, the morning over the temple, etc., is getting in touch with how much Hashem cares about the fact that we are Jews, that we're in a relationship with Him, and trying to get back in touch with ourselves to care deeply about being a Jew, right? And how Levi, we should never have to be in such a situation, but how Levi that we would know to the core of our being that no matter what, even if Chas v'Sholom, we wouldn't have opportunity, God forbid, to get involved in the spirituality of it all, right? And the doing of the